How's it going, everyone? Another top 30 visit for the Packers. This one is another wide receiver out of Colorado State in Tory Horton. So Tory Horton is currently the 14th best ranked wide receiver in this year's draft class and 107th ranked overall out of all the draft prospects. Comes in with a RAS score of a 9.79, a height of 6'2", and a vertical jump of 37.5, and ran the 40-yard dash in 4.41 seconds. So very explosive, good build. And to add to this, considering he ran a 4.41 and had a vertical jump at 34 or 37.5, he did this when he probably shouldn't have, considering he tore his knee in October, only played 6 games in his final season, and had an undisclosed knee injury. I did read a report from Bill Huber that it was an LCL tear, but I couldn't really find any definitive concrete evidence that it was an LCL tear. But Bill Huber did call it an LCL tear. So with that tear, it required surgery. He was lost for the year. And like I said, this happened in October. Scouts didn't even think that he would be running at the NFL Combine, but decided to actually do it and was pretty competitive and still put up very great numbers. So this is very good to see after such a knee tear. So 4.41 and 37.5 after a knee tear. A little bit early too on that front. Very good metrics for him. And it's probably why the Packers are definitely bringing him in, considering they want to do some medical evaluations on that knee. Now, for the look at his 40-yard time of 4.41 seconds, it puts him at 14th best, or tied for 14th best, and with Luther Burden III from Missouri, one of the higher rated receivers in this year's draft class. So his speed is nothing to really scoff at. For his time at the collegiate level, he actually spent 5 years at the college level. First 2 years was at Nevada, played alongside Romeo Doubs both of those years, and then transferred to Colorado State for his final 3 years. So looking at his stats at Nevada, he played in 21 games total, had 72 total receptions and 995 receiving yards, and then 10 touchdowns. Transferred to Colorado State in his first year, played in 12 games, 71 receptions, 1,131 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Second year at Colorado State, played again 12 games, 96 receptions, 1,136 receiving yards, and once again, 8 touchdowns. Then, unfortunately, in his final year, only played in 6 games, so he accounted for 26 receptions and 353 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And he was actually 35 yards short from being the franchise holder for receiving yards. So that really is a big bummer for him. Now, over on the PFF side for his grades, kind of looking at the final 2 years, considering his final year was cut short. 2023 had 87.9 offensive grade, an 86.9 receiving grade, and an 86 drop grade. Then in his final year, 82.3 offensive grade, 81.4 receiving grade, and a 78.4 drop grade. And in his first year at Colorado State, he did have a drop problem. He had 8 total drops in that third year, or his first year at Colorado State. But then in his second year at Colorado State, only was accounted with 4 drops in that entire season. So definitely fixed his drop problem, and was accounted for 1 drop in his short final year over there at Colorado State. And lastly, for the contested catch rate for him in his final 2 years, pretty much in 2023 is the big one, 57.1 contested catch rate. So a pretty good percentage, and then a 50 contested catch percentage over in his final year. And then moving along to the run blocking side of the grades, in the 2023 season, he had a 79.4 run block grade, and in his short cut 2024 season had a 66.5 run block grade. So decent grades over in the run department. So something Matt LaFleur, once again, he really likes. So he does kind of check off that box as well for a wide receiver. Now, what are some of the pros for him? Exceptional ball tracking ability downfield that allows him to make adjustments on the fly without losing stride or separation from defensive backs. Natural hands catcher who flashes mid to late in routes, consistently creating separation with deceptive gearing and vertical push against press coverage. Long strider with impressive build-up speed who stacks defensive backs effectively, giving quarterbacks a clean throwing window downfield. Manipulates route tempo masterfully, employing hesitation moves and suddenly acceleration bursts that leave corners guessing and recovering. Displays impressive spatial awareness along sidelines, consistently maintaining awareness of boundary limits while contorting for difficult catches. Creates chunks of yards after catch with slippery, open field movement, vision to find running lanes, and enough wiggle to make first defenders miss. Versatile weapon who lined up both outside and in slot at Colorado State University, demonstrating ability to win at multiple levels and expanding his NFL projection. And shows remarkable body control when elevating for contested catches, contorting mid-air to adjust to ball placement and shield defenders. And now for some of the cons for him, he has a high cut frame with limited muscle mass, raises durability concerns against physical NFL corners who will test him at line of scrimmage. Inconsistent hand fighting technique against press coverage that could severely limit his effectiveness against NFL caliber boundary corners. Route tree lacks diversity with over half his patterns at Colorado State University consisting of vertical routes, hitches, and crossers, limiting immediate impact potential. Shows occasional concentration lapses with body catching tendencies, particularly on routine throws where focus shifts prematurely to yak opportunity. And blocking effort and technique remain below average despite adequate frame, often appearing disinterested when plays aren't designed for him. That is a pretty big con. And the blocking effort, it's a little bit shocking considering he was graded pretty decently in the running blocking department in his final 2 years at Colorado State. Now, Tory Horton's a pretty interesting draft prospect, really, especially for the Packers. I think he would fit pretty well if drafted. He's currently projected to be potentially a late day 2 pick, so in round 3, or an early day 4 or day 3 pick in round 4. So he's got a good range to where it wouldn't be a bad idea to take a flyer, considering his draft stock has actually significantly dropped due to that unspecified knee injury, as a lot of reports are calling it. And if it checks out based off the Packers medical doctors, he could be a steal considering he should have probably have been a round 2 kind of pick player. So with that knee injury, his stock is dropping, and it's something to definitely keep an eye on to see, especially with how the first 2 picks are going to go for the Packers, if the Packers go for him in round 3 or round 4 trade up kind of deal, considering it's later on in the draft. How he fits, I think he would actually fit decently considering we're looking for, if you're to look at the Packers receiver, someone that can kind of stretch the defense. 4.41, it's not the super fastest, but it's really good speed to where it could still stretch the defense. He has a good contested rate, so the defense would have to kind of respect him. He can stack against the corners, so he knows how to use his body to on the go routes and all that. Now, his route tree is a bit limited. He's mainly good on hitches, some crossers, and definitely the go route. So in a kind of starting off with the offense, wouldn't be a bad position. He's not obviously not the number 1 receiver, but he would be in that role to kind of stretch the defense and kind of, not allow the defense to play downward because they're not worried about any type of vertical threat, whether it's speed or someone that could just out jump and pretty much moss a defender. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.